If you are looking for a bookish summer reading recommendations, you have come to the right place. Tastes like summer. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chrissy and this is my cozy corner. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you my bookish summary reading recommendations, ones that I've either really loved or felt very strong summer vibes from. I'm not just gonna give romance summer book recommendations. I have some thriller and some literary fiction. So let's jump right on in. I'm gonna first start with romance because I do feel like this is the larger category here. I'm gonna start with one that I feel like is an underrated author that I don't hear too much about, and that's going to be two books by Jessica Joyce. The first one is The X-Files. Now this is very summery. You have a like vineyard backdrop for the setting. You also have a second chance romance. Our two main characters were romantically involved in the past. They had broke up, and of course you're trying to find out what happened between them. They do have a mutual friend who they are trying to help plan his wedding. So they come back together again, and it just kind of goes from there. So then the second one, also by Jessica Joyce, is You with a View. The main character recently loses her grandma, and she is trying to take her grandma's like a road trip that her grandma always wanted to take with the love of her life, and there ends up being a connection between her, the main character, the granddaughter, and a boy that she went to high school with. Obviously he's a man now because they're grown up, and it's a whole road trip summary vibe. Like it gave like all the summary vibes that you could ask for in this one. These are two amazing recommendations. The next recommendation I have for summary reads, they may not necessarily take place in the summer, but for some reason the Bromance Book Club series, because of the baseball aspect, reminds me of summer. I only read the first two books in the series, and I wasn't obsessed with the second book, but I really loved the first book. It is a marriage kind of on the rocks and watching them come back together again. So the main male character in the book is trying to woo his wife back and kind of get back into his normal family dynamic because they do have a child together, and he ends up like joining a bromance book club where they read romance novels and they try to figure out like what their wives or women that they're dating or trying to date like. And this was so fun, so cheeky, and I'm a married woman, so it was really cool to see not just like a regular second chance romance or a enemies to lovers or whatever, irritated to lovers. I wouldn't call them enemies to lovers in romance books. Just watching a marriage in distress and coming back together, I thought that was a very refreshing. I really love the first book. And again, baseball reminds me of the summer. I think it's because I've always gone to see baseball games in the summer. So concession stands, baseball games, hot sunny weather, it gave all the vibes. The next summer romance book recommendation I have for you is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I have a very strenuous relationship with Tessa Bailey because I loved It Happened One Summer so much, and I've tried so many other books by her. I've given her 5th, 6th, 7th tries, and I still have only liked this one. I didn't even like Hook, Line, and Sinker. I felt this one was pretty repetitive, but it is summery, so if you want to try it, I don't really think it's like necessary. It is a sequel to this book, but the main characters in It Happened One Summer are not the focal point. So honestly, I say skip it, but if you're looking for more summary reads and you want to go ahead and try it, go for it. But yes, this one, I loved this one so much. Piper and Brennan are our main characters. It is a Schitt's Creek inspired romance. I think he's based off of Mutt, but other than the setting and the main character giving like somewhat Alexis vibes, I wouldn't like say it reminded me totally of Schitt's Creek. But she ends up in jail one night because like her family has a lot of money, her stepdad has a lot of money, so he decides he's going to cut them off, and he said he sends them to this small town. You're going to run your late father's old like dive bar or whatever, bring it back to life. So she ends up there, and you know, they have like kind of a irritated two lovers vibe, but the summary aspect, the dive bar, the vibes, like the Schitt's Creek vibes as far as the summary setting, it's all there in this book. The banter is good. The male main character is great. It was I loved it. I loved it. It's been many years since I read it, and I still feel like I would recommend it if I reread it. Next up, we have Any Book by Carly Fortune. She just had a new release this month. One Golden Summer, I think, just came out last week. So I will be jumping on this one. I can't recommend this one yet, but I will say it is getting a fantastic review so far, which is great, from people I trust too. So the only book I've not liked by her so far is Meet Me at the Lake. I didn't like this one. I felt like it was very outlandish, wasn't realistic, but if you just want a good summery time, I guess go for it. I didn't like it, but I would definitely highly recommend both of these. Every Summer After, childhood friends to lovers to strangers to lovers again. This one, they're doing summery things in a summery like home and swimming and just like all the vibes. But even better, in my opinion, was This Summer Will Be Different. I love this one so much. I think I gave it a 4.5 stars. So we have our main character she's been living with her best friend, and she's going to meet her best friend's family, and she ends up at Prince Edward Island early waiting on her best friend. She meets a guy at a bar. I think he's like shucking oysters or something, and they end up hooking up, but lo and behold, it is her best friend's brother. So she's like, that's a big like no. So for years she's trying to resist them, but them, it's just the way Carly Fortune describes the setting of Prince Edward Island and all the like little summery event things that are going on there is absolutely gorgeous. I could smell everything. She has such a knack for describing a setting, and all her books are summery. So if you want the vibes, you're here watching the video because you want those vibes. She's absolutely perfect for them. So yeah, any book by her, except for Meet Me at the Lake. This wouldn't be like a summer book recs video if I did not mention This Summer I Turned Pretty. I really liked the books when I read them, and I felt they're very, very YA. Nothing like, there is a heavy topic that happens, but you don't have spice or a ton of like heavy things. There is one though. There is one. I like the show a lot. I don't even care who Belly ends up with, to be quite frank. I feel like it's weird seeing her go back and forth between the two of them, but I'm so excited to see like and their relationship unfold. That is the one that I am like kind of rooting for more so, but like in the books, obviously it's Jeremiah and Conrad. So you got the two brothers and the summery times, and then they grow up together almost as if they're siblings, but their mothers are best friends. So yeah, and it just kind of goes from there. I think most people already know about this series. I thought it was so cute. Again, very YA, but because I liked the show so much, I did go out and get like the cute little special edition with like the pictures and stuff of the crew. I thought it was worth it because it's just the show. If you like the show, I think you would like the books. The books are more YA in my opinion than the show is. And you do also get to see like the parents, like more of like the parents and the stuff they're going through than you do in the books, which I thought was pretty cool. So yes, always recommend this one unless you really don't like YA romance, then I guess not. One of my favorite summer reads a couple summers ago was Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. I never hear anything about this one. I would say this one is a little bit more light as far as, I wouldn't say it's YA, because there is like a past to present timeline. You have the main characters who meet at a summer camp, very summery. The past is very summery, and fall in love as teenagers. Something happens. She doesn't see him again for many years. She finally sees him, and it's more of a workplace situation. And you go from there and you learn what had happened to them all those years ago and why they stopped talking. And I just loved the romance. I loved the summer camp vibe. I loved the like twist that you find out about. I think I loved everything about this. I would say like the spicing is more closed door than anything, but I wouldn't say this is YA completely, because you do have the adult romance like in the present chapters. But this one is probably one of my favorite recommendations up here, and if you do try it, I do hope you like it. Let me know down in the comments if you read it, if you liked it, or if and when you do read it, if you liked it. So I love it. The next one is a big summery romance author. Her releases always come out in May, and they're all the vibes that you could ask for the summer, and that is Anything by Emily Henry. So I feel like her most summery ones are probably People We Meet on Vacation, Happy Place, and then Beach Read is as well, but I felt like the little vacation houses that they were at while they were writing their books was more of a lake house, if I can remember. Let me know in the comments if I'm right about that. I think it was lake house. It's been a long time since I read that, but they're all the settings here are super summery. They're all romance. Some of them feel a little more on the edge of literary fiction or women's fiction and romance, and I would say that would be Great Big Beautiful Life and Happy Place. The rest are very much romance, and maybe even book lovers at times. But anyway, Anything by Emily Henry is going to give you the settings that you're asking for the summertime. The next romance book recommendations that I have for you are from two authors that are very renowned in the romance genre, and it's a best friend duo. So that is Christina and Lauren, but obviously they go by Christina Lauren, and these are her three most summery books that I would definitely recommend. One of my favorite books of all time is Love in Other Words. So you have Macy and Elliot, who are friends, childhood friends to lovers to strangers to lovers, and it's past and to present timelines, which is one of my favorite formats for any book, whether it's romance or literary fiction, women's fiction. So Macy doesn't live near Elliot, but she spends weekends and summers at a house that they have over there with him reading, and it just the vibe is very summery because she's spending summers there. So this one is very sweet. I love this one so much. And then we have The Unhoneymooners, which is not my favorite Christina Lauren book. I think I gave it 3 stars, but reading it in the summertime made me almost want to bump it up because it was so summery, and it was fun. But it was one of those ones that was a little outlandish, but if you don't mind that stuff, it's just fine. So pretty much two people, the two main characters in this book don't like each other, or it's a miscommunication why one of them doesn't like the other. And they're attending a wedding for their best friends, and everybody gets food poisoning but them because they don't eat the food there. So they send them on the honeymoon because the bride and groom are sick and cannot go. So they end up going together. Obviously, we know what happens. And one that is never mentioned, I don't hear anybody ever mention this one, and I thought it was so much fun, and that is Something Wilder. Now, this one is there's a whole questy aspect to it. There's a Western questy aspect. I believe they were once an item before, so it is second chance. She owns this horse trail riding business he ends up going on with his friends, and that's where they end up reconnecting. And then there ends up being this whole quest, almost a National Treasure vibe or something. So it was a ton of fun. This one is, you have to, I think maybe it is also a little outlandish in parts, but I didn't mind it in this one. This one was the best time for me to read in the summer. Another author I would highly recommend if you are wanting to get all those summery vibes is going to be Annabelle Monaghan, and my favorite by her is Same Time Next Summer. It does have the format that I like, which is the childhood friends to lovers to strangers to lovers again. I believe it has past to present timelines. Yeah, because it says then right there. Then Wyatt. So yeah, I really liked this one. My only gripe with it was I felt like it took too long for them to get together, which I love a slow burn, but this is quite a small book. So they have another one by her. She has another one, Nora Goes Off Script, which I didn't love as much. And then she has a new one out. I think it's called Summertime or something like that. No, it's called Summer Romance, which I have not read, but it is on my TBR to read this summer. But if you're going to read anything by Annabelle Monaghan, go with this one. This one is absolutely one of my favorite ones by her. The next one, I have a love-hate relationship with it, but I cannot deny the summer vibes because the main character actually goes to a whole new location for the summer and to live and work with her dad. And there's summer things happening, they're at a lake at one point, but whatever. So that is going to be the Ravenhood trilogy by Kate Stewart. My love-hate relationship is that I loved Flock, solid 4 stars, really liked it and gave all the good vibes there. I liked Exodus a lot, made me sad, and the finish line, I just don't like one of the characters too much, and this is where we're heavily focused on that person. So this kind of ruined it for me, but I even think, I feel like you could read the first one. It's not a standalone, so the story doesn't end, but I don't know. I just really liked the first one, and I liked the second one as well. So there is what was it called? The rainy day one. It is called, I haven't read it yet, One Last Rainy Day, and maybe that can redeem it for me, but it still gives summery vibes, and I'm in the minority with thinking that, like, I don't like this person. A lot of people do like that person, so it might be okay, but the vibes were just great for the summertime. Oh, and then this one is more of like a romantic suspense. So this one, we're kind of switching genres right now. This is romantic suspense, and we're kind of ending this romance category. This, the less you know, the better. So kind of go into it blind. Definitely go into it blind. So the next genre we are going to focus on is going to be a mystery thriller. So if you are really looking for like summer thrillers where it's happening in the summertime, I love to read summer thrillers, even though I like end up guessing something and end up rating it lower because I'm like, oh, I saw that coming. It's like while reading it, I had the best time. And then I only lower it sometimes because of, like, I guessed a plot twist or whatever, which shouldn't really matter too much. But this next one I did not do that with, and I absolutely love this one. This one is The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand. Any book by Ellen Hildebrand is going to give you exactly what you're asking for. This one is like, it is a murder mystery, and it also gives the women's fiction vibes, as well as, like, there's a lot of drama going on in it, lots of drama between all the characters, and they're all not very likable, but there's a wedding happening and somebody ends up dead, and you're trying to figure out what in the heck happened, and you're getting all these characters' perspectives, and it was so fun. It was such a treat. I could not put this one down. Anything by Ellen Hildebrand. Anything. The next summer thriller recommendation is going to be The House Across from the Lake by Riley Sager. In this one, a recently widowed actress is retreating to her like lakefront vacation home to escape some bad press, and then she ends up being enamored by the couple across from her, like watches them and everything. Like, so this one very much gave exactly what I was looking for, as far as like I need a summer setting with like a thriller murder mystery vibes. This one was absolutely perfect. I believe his newest release is also pretty summery. That one I have not read yet, so I cannot speak to that one. It is called, it's on my TBR card, the only one left. This one right here, if I can even get it out. Ugh. This one is supposed to be super summery, but again, I have not read it yet, so it's gonna be on my TBR. But yeah, Riley Sager is always a good, he's been more hits than he has been. I think he's only had like 2 misses with me, but still, I think he's a pretty solid thriller author in general. An author that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for a good summer thriller vibes is going to be Rachel Hawkins. I read both The Villa by her and Reckless Girls, which I feel like I rated them a little lower than I normally would. I think I gave it 3 stars because I guessed the plot twist, and I was like, ugh. But then I went back and thought, and I was like, I had the best time reading them, and they gave me exactly what I was asking for, like thriller, mystery, all summer vibes. So The Villa, you have 2 different timelines, and one of them is friends who are trying to reconnect, 2 women who are trying to reconnect, and they go to this like Italian villa for the summer, which has like this rich history where there was a murder of a famous musician. That musician in the past timeline invites an up-and-coming musician and his girlfriend and her stepsister out to the villa because he's trying to like get like a spark for his, you know, to write some music. Like he's trying to like get inspired is what it is, and you're trying to figure out, well, what happened in the past, and then there's stuff going on in the present as well. It was just, the setting was great and the time was great. Like I had so much fun. And Reckless Girls, I also had such a good time with this. This one, you have the main character's boyfriend he sails on a boat, and they were supposed to do some like sailing around the world, but they end up kind of shipwreck a little bit in this one place for a very long time. And then these girls end up paying him to take them to this like creepy like island place, and some weird things go down there. They were both such a good time, and it was exactly what I was looking for in like a summer thriller, other than guessing the plot twist, but like maybe you won't. I feel like if you don't think too hard about it, you probably won't, but for some reason I always have to sit there and analyze. I wish I would just, next time I read one of her books, I'm just going to not. I'm gonna try not to. I mean, we all do that. Maybe you will, maybe you won't guess it. If you do, I still think you're gonna have a great time with these books. Next one I would say is like mystery and literary fiction, and that is going to be Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. This one, I couldn't tell you why I feel like it's a summer mystery recommendation. I couldn't pinpoint one thing, the setting, like I don't know what it was. I don't think anything was mentioned that made it summery, but something felt summery about it. So I am putting it on this list. This one, you have 3 girls who are moved into foster care at different times. They end up being there at the same time, but obviously one goes first, the next, and then one ends up showing up last, and they end up forming a connection because they are kind of, you know, in this situation with this foster mother, and you kind of go from there. This one is like the less you know, the better on it. And if you have like any triggers as far as anything with like children, I definitely would Google trigger warnings for this book just in case. It wasn't too bad in my opinion, but it was fun. It was not my favorite. I definitely would say the Rachel Hawkins books were more fun for summer thrillers, but it still gave the vibes and I still had a good time with it. So yeah, I think it's okay to put up here for a summer recommendation. The next genre is going to be literary fiction, and this first recommendation is romance and literary fiction, and that is going to be 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. She wrote the book that I told you about earlier that was in the mystery part of the video, and that is The Perfect Couple. So obviously the covers are telling you that read me for the summer, and the settings are both in Nantucket, so come on, that's summery, like. So in this one's actually based off of the 1950s movie Same Time Next Year. So it's like heavily inspired by that. So the main couple ends up meeting and forming a bond, and I believe he's friends with her brother. He brings his group of friends to her, like, the little, like, beach house over in Nantucket that she owns. It was her grandmother's, I think. It's been a while since I read this, but I do remember most of it. So that's how she ends up meeting him, and they end up forming such a strong bond. They say no matter what is happening in our lives, it doesn't matter what it is, we're gonna meet up every Labor Day, every single year, and they end up doing that for 28 summers. So this one definitely has a whole soulmate vibe to it. There's a lot of things happening in their lives when you go to each individual chapters when they're not together, but when they get together, it's like, oh, I've been waiting for this, and then you go off in their separate lives. It was such a good story. I would even say this is one of my favorite Ellen Hildebrand books, I've only read 2, but this is also probably in the top 20 books that I've read of all time. This I think might be on there. I absolutely love this book. So yeah, I think there's like a trigger warning. I don't want to say what it's for, but if you have triggers of any sort, you might want to look up trigger warnings for this book. But again, to not spoil something, I don't want to say it here, just look it up though. The next literary fiction recommendation I have for you is going to be Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I don't know if I said that last name right, but this cover is everything. Obviously, it takes place in the 70s. You can tell by the cover. You have a young girl who is very much like sheltered in her life. She ends up working for this family, and it's like they're the opposite of sheltered. So she sees things that she's like, whoa, about, and their friends, they end up like housing like a rock star in their house, and he's kind of like off the chain or whatever, but it was so much fun. It wasn't like the best thing I've ever read, but I had like such a good time with it, and like the whole thing is taking place in the summer. Like her job that she takes as a nanny at this house is literally in the summer. So you're getting the setting and the vibes. Just anything in the 70s feels like summer to me. It doesn't even matter what time of the year the book is happening for some reason. I don't know if it's that like yellow hue over all the 70s things. I just love the era. Like I would love to go back to that era and just like go to a rock concert or whatever. Like it was, yeah, because it does say an immersive trip into the best and worst of the 1970s. Mary Jane is a timeless coming of age story about finding yourself, all wrapped up with lots of humor, a dash of teenage rebellion, and plenty of rock and roll. I'm glad I read that little last paragraph. That describes it perfectly. The next one is one of my favorite authors of all time, and this is like the one that feels very summery. Still in literary fiction here, and that's going to be Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I love Kristen Hanna, but I'm sure you've probably seen or heard of this show. Maybe you've even read this book. Couldn't tell you. I feel like I separate the show and the book a lot because there obviously is some differences. I think for the most part, I do like the book more, but there is some things in the show that I prefer. I will say that. But actually Tully, one of the main characters in this book, I prefer her in the show as a matter of fact. But yeah, so two teenage girls end up meeting in the 70s, so it kind of follows them throughout their lives, their ups and downs. This is a book about friendship, and we start in the 70s, and it goes through their lives, whether they're like with somebody in a relationship, in school, hanging out in the summertime. It goes through their lives and their hardships together and also separately, and how they help each other as well. It just thinking about my best friend myself, I just love the types of books that focus on friendship like this, and I always recommend everything by Kristen Hanna, literally everything, but if you're looking for summer, this is the summer one. My last literary fiction and my last two recommendations I have for you are going to be by the same author, and that's going to be Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid. So the first one is Daisy Jones and the Six. 70s rock and roll, written in like an interview type of format here. I mean, I think most of us have heard of Daisy Jones and the Six, so we kind of know, but 70s rock and roll, like, come on. Like, this was an absolutely amazing book. And then also to piggyback off of absolutely amazing book, Malibu Rising. This one, I feel like I went in thinking there was going to be this huge plot reveal, and that's not really what this is about. So if you like kind of take that out of your head, this is an absolutely amazing book. You have past to present timelines. One of the a father and his past and everything has happened. Again, I believe that's like the 50s, and then fast forward to like the 70s and 80s, and you're looking at the kids and what exactly is happening on in their lives. So Nina specifically, she's like the daughter of Mick Riva, and he's actually in the Seven. If you could believe it, I haven't read this book yet. I think it's because the hype was like so strong, and I just was like, I don't know. But I will read it probably this summer. But The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I believe Mick, I heard, is actually in this book. But Mick is like one of the main characters. He's the father, and you're in the past when he gets with the mother and like what happens with them. And then you fast forward to like the present time, which is not like present time, it's still like the 70s and 80s, to what's going on with like his children, specifically Nina, and they are surfers, so they all like to surf. And it was so good. It was probably the most summery book. I would say if I top 5, I was like top 3 most summery book like I've ever read. I highly recommend this. Like, I might even reread it this summer. I love this one so much. All right, you guys, that ends it with my summer recommendations. I hope that you got something out of this video, or you got a recommendation that you might be excited for. I am like a fantasy girly, and I went through my shelf and I was like, I literally could not recommend, like, I can't think of anything that would be a fantasy book that takes place in the summer or has a summer setting. So if you have a recommendation for me for that, please drop it down in the comments, because I would love to put that on my TBR this summer. And if you have any other good summer recommendation that you have read that I did not mention in this video, I would definitely appreciate it if you could drop in the comments, because I'm always looking for more recommendations, especially seasonal recommendations. So I post videos every Sunday. I hope to see you next week. I'm gonna go ahead and start One Golden Summer so I can kind of kick off my summer vibes reading. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.